Begin. Okay, so we'll start with first day of second stage, and that is psychology. So the first task is stat. So in that we have to write 12 stories, and the big last one is blank. I didn't prepare for that. Actually, I wrote 4 5 stories to make up my mind how much I need to write in 4 minutes, and how should I frame my stories. So with this practice, I went for the examination, and fortunately, I was able to complete all the stories. With most of the stories with my own skills matching my personality. Most of the stories were on struggle, hard work, urban challenges, rural challenges, economy, and something like this. And for the last slide, I wrote one of my own incident of my pre-final year of my college where I shown some leadership skill. So that's much I wrote. And the only suggestion that I can give you for the TAT is that don't make up your stories before going to the examination. If you want to practice, just practice it for timing and practice it for formulation of the story and not for content. So that's only suggestion I can give you for the TAT. So the next task that comes in the series is VAT. For the VAT, I practice almost 4 5 sets of 60 words each in strict time limits, and that helped me with the timings, and I was able to complete 58 out of 60 in the real test. Few of the words even came same as I practiced, so I just wrote the same exact statement as that they were my own thoughts. And for the tips point of view, I can only say that just practice a lot in strict time limits and don't overthink during the practice, and try to make a bit of more creative thoughts, more creative statements. For example, in my case, one of the word was old, so I just wrote older people comes with lot of experience. And another I can give you example of society. So society, for society, I wrote honest people are loved by society. So that's pretty much for the VAT. So the next task is SRT. In SRT, we have to complete 60 situations in 30 minutes. So for this, I didn't practice. Rather, I made up my mind to write exactly same responses that I would do in the real life. And with this thought, I went to the test and I tried my very best to write exactly same responses that I would do in the real life. And I also improvised my writing style to include lot of commas and semicolon to just shorten my time for the each responses. And I also focused on a quality of response rather than quality of language or quality of sentence making English. And with this, I was able to complete 43 out of 60 situations. And the interesting part is that I didn't left any situation in between. I tried to complete all the situation from 1 to 43, and I think this shows that I don't want to evade any situation. So that's only improvisation and that I did there. For the tips part, I can say that just try to write as exact responses as you would do in the real life, and nothing extra. Don't make yourself Superman, or don't make yourself a beggar. Just try to just be yourself, and that's the only thing that I can say. So that's pretty much for the SRT. So the last task for the first day was SD, self description. I think this is a very important test where you have to write about your own self, your own weaknesses, your own strength, and what your parents, what your teachers, what your employer, friends thinks about yourself. So I just consulted my friends about, just in casual talks, I asked them about my strengths and weaknesses, and I think I wrote the same thing for my own. For my employer, I just took my manager's feedback and wrote those things. For family, I inquired about their thoughts about myself, and in the things that I can improve and about my own thoughts, I just introspected my own self. I think introspection is very much important. It will not just help you in SD but also in TAT, VAT, and SRT, and even GTO and interview. This will make you a blueprint of yourself that you would like to use, because your own strengths and weaknesses make up the tag stories, the situation responses, even the words that, and also in GTO, if, for example, if you are weak in communication, obviously you will be not very comfortable with the lecture rate in the GTO. So I think self-reflection is very important, and self-introspection is very much important for the SSB point of view. Tips. there is no tips for the self preparation. Just right. I practiced the self preparation 1 or 2 days before the SSB in the train itself. So I think you should write your self description beforehand and prepare it, because 15 minutes is not very much time to think and write there itself. So just practice it and prepare it, and self introspection is very much important, I must say. This is for the SD part. Hello everyone, my name is Ravi. So in these video series, today I will be talking about GTO. So that is second day and third day of stage two. So the first task that comes in this is GD, and for this we have two GDs. The first one is optional between two topics that GTO present in front of you, and the second one is decided by the GTO. So in my case, the first that topic that we choose as a group from the two topics that GTO gave us is frequent protest by student unions. And for this, the GTO gave us three solutions. The first one is handled by democracy. The third one is handled by police force, and the third one is handled by inducting in the mainstream politics. So I must say my group was very violent. Everybody was shouting on their throat, and most of them supporting either handled by democratically listening to their voices or taking strict police action. Some even tried to deviate the group to other topics like uh, CAA and BJP, but few of them just retreated on the tracks. One thing that my group was missing, that nobody was talking about inducting in the mainstream politics, and that's where I saw some opportunity. I stated that many ground worker leaders have emerged from student politics. For example, I gave the example of Arun Jaitley. And moreover, when we talk about democracy, we should induct them democratically in the mainstream politics, hear their voices in the parliament or in the legislative assembly, and then figure out the solutions. So this is one of the things that I think I did good. I rarely spoke 3 or 4 points in the whole first GD, but out of them, a few of them were very valid and transformed our group discussion into a very healthy one. So I think that helped me in my favor. And for the second GD, we were given the topic of accidents. How can we avoid accidents? So some of the solution that GTO gave us was strict rules, infrastructure, and toll uh, and multiple tolls that are present in a road. So in these GD again, the people were shouting, and in fact, in last GD and this GD, in both of the GD, GTO interrupted us twice in the both GD. So and urged us to maintain some decorum, but we were still shouting like hell. uh, we I was able to give 1 or 2 points. Few of them I can mention that one of that our road traveling speed is much more without toll. In fact, is much greater than other developed countries, but because of the toll, we have reduced the average speed of the highways. And second point that I gave a innovative solution that we can design our lanes in such a manner that the lanes are divided on the basis of speed. For example, if you want to go on a speed of 100 km/h on a highway, you should take the leftmost lane and something like this. So these solutions are already present on in the other foreign countries. So if you would read some news, you will get to know all these things. So the second GD was not very great for my own point of view, because I was hardly able to speak 1 or 2 points. But I must say that I was not shouting like anything, but I was only trying to put up my own points in a very decent manner, and that's thing I can say that. For the GD, I would only suggest you to read news. There is a YouTube channel known as Study IQ Education that publishes very good news on daily current affairs. So this will help you. Although I was reading news as well, I was in fact in the PIQ I wrote reading news as my hobby. So those things helped me. One more thing, that do not just start shouting with your points. Just try to be a more wise person there. speak on a very good occasion, speak with very good points, and don't just try to focus on your points only. Try to gain the knowledge actively there as well. Just listen to the points of your group mates and try to reform them. Try to think that where my group is going on, how should I support my group, rather than you're focusing on your own points. And also, if you're good in communication, if you're good in oration skill, this is a very good task that you can ace it. So I think if you are you should practice two things: reading news on the daily basis, transforming your own opinions. For example, my SSB is for CDS, so by the time people are here for CDS, they've already qualified CDS exam. They are already 22 or 23 years old, so they have their opinions for most of the topics. So I think making opinions is a very good thing that you can do, not just for your SSB but your own life as well. So yes, please do speak uh, good points, read news, and try to focus on your literacy skill. That's only thing that I can say about the GD. So the next task, that is GPE. In this task, you are given with one sand model. The tutor will explain you the sand model, and there is a sheet with a problem, with a few of problem. In fact, four of them to be precise, and you have to write your solution and then discuss it later with your mates. So I focused on presentation of my writing. I wrote the priorities and then the solution, and then at last the conclusion of how I will manage those problems and how will I divide the group. So I urge you to practice writing rather than practice content again. For the discussion part, again, the group was very explosive. In fact, in this GP task as well, we were interrupted twice by the GTO to maintain the decorum, but we were still shouting like hell again. I was able to give 1 or 2 points. That was not very important, I must say. There were 1 or 2 points more in my mind, but I was not able to speak in the group. So that's how GP went. At last, when the whole discussion was complete, we nominated one of our groupmate to narrate our story, narrate our group story or solution. In GPI, must say that you do not superimpose your own solution, rather go with the group. If your group is planning to do something which you seems is a correct one, just go with them, regardless of your own solution. So at last, GTO asked us if anyone has any addition to be made or any other thoughts. So I spoke those points that were in my minds. That was I was not able to speak in the discussion part, and so did two more people. So that's how GP went. The only thing that practice the writing thing, because that thing is only thing that remains with the GTO, the written part. And that's pretty much for the GP. I don't say that my GP was very good because I was not able to speak much, although I think my solution was not in line with the group solution, but I went with the group solution. So that's how my GP went. So the next task is PGT. So this is one of the most interesting tasks in the GTO. You must be feeling that PGT, GT, command tasks, GOR, all are physically exhausting tasks. But I must say that these are test of your mind rather than your own physical activities. So in PGT, I have attended three PGT tasks, and this PGT task was worst of all the three. Our group was shouting like hell. We were not able to implement a solution. We were not giving perfect solutions. We are given us four tasks in PGT. We were hardly able to complete two of them. We were on third of them when the bashing from the GTO started. So in the very first few of them just started picked up the bully plank and rope load and just went away without knowing that there were a few people at the back as well. So the PGT didn't go that well, and for that we had a fair share of GTO bashing. Although few of the people were implementing solution, few of the people were finding solution. So nothing much to say about PGT of my task, but I must say that if you are going for a HSB, you must have an idea of PGT task. just try to Google or YouTube some videos. You will get to know the basic things, and I think those basic things are required to have a actually you need to think of solution there with the thing that you're given. And if you have a prior exposure to that, you will be able to give better solution. But I think this is again a challenge of mind, how good a solution you can find. So no, so nothing to say about PGT. If you are good at logical skills, you have a bit of exposure to the ground level of Fatta and Balli, you will be able to do good things if you have a good command on your group mates. So that's it. Don't try to just be aggressive in the group task. Few of my group mates in the group gave some used some abusive words, so that I don't think should be used there. So just go with a group, follow your group, or just lead your group if you can, and just give your shot. There's nothing much I can say. Just practice some YouTube videos, and that's the only thing I can tell you. So the next task is GOR. This is a more of a fun task than a actual task. So in this, just choose a very good slogan. Shout with your group mate. Shout, run with them. Just do all the obstacles. Have fun. Just keep in mind that do not intentionally break any rules. Just try to avoid breaking any rules. Help your teammates. Just prioritize your group upon yourself. Do not just jump over every obstacles and leave the group behind. And just do not break any rules. If you do break, just repeat the obstacles. In my part, there was some provision, or you can say that I things I did in the GOR is that in my SD I wrote helpfulness as one of my strength, or one of my things that my friends say about me. So intentionally or unintentionally, I was helping my groupmates in the GOR. I was one of the last people to cross the obstacle after helping my group. There was one obstacle where you have to climb a wall. I was picking up all of my group mates and they're throwing over the wall like in the slang language. But at last I was left behind, and there was nobody to pull me up on the, or there were hardly anybody, one guy to pull me up on the wall. I was not able to climb, so the GTO told me to just cross it. So things some went like this. So I would say just be yourself. Don't try to be make yourself a superficial one, and enjoy this task. There is nothing more to say about this task. So the next task was HGT. It is more of a similar to PGT with a half group divided. So we were a group of 9 people. So four of them or five of them was with me. We were given now a simple solution. I was able to give one idea, and that helped the group to cross the solution. So that is one of the highlight of HGT. Again, there was some shouting in the HGT as well. There were people who were applying absurd ideas, but eventually we crossed the obstacle. So I think HGT went a bit of average. Again, nothing to say about HGT. Same as PGT. Just try to apply your ideas. Try to go with the group, and that's it. So after HGT, the last task for this day is lecture it. Lecture it in this task, you have to speak for 3 minutes, but after preparing for 3 minutes. So the topics, if you're going for the first time, I must say that the topics that are given are a wide range, from my favorite teacher to complex geopolitics topics. So if you want to command the content part of it, just please read news and read all the articles, form your opinions, and do stuff like that. And the other thing that matter here is confidence. If you are confident with your content, you can deliver a very good lecture there. In my case, my oration skill was not very great, and in fact I wrote the same thing in SD as well. I was given 4 topics. I don't remember the other three, but the topic that was on top and I chose that was the importance of festivals in geopolitical India. So I spoke about that. I started very well, taking the example of how puris were only made in villages during festivals, but now it has been common. So the festival has the aura of touching the livelihood of from rich to poor. So I started with that, but I forgot one point that I prepared about the economic impact of the festivals, and so my lecture was finished in less than 2 minutes 30 seconds before the precaution bell. So I think this is one of the blunders that I did in lecturate. Please do not do this. I must say that prepare well, speak with confidence. One more thing that whatever I spoke with much confidence, ranging from the importance of festival and then how it helps to culturally organize our country and things like that. So that's I think he may have noticed it. So that's how lecture went. The only way to perform good in lecture is to improve your oration skill, especially in front of your group mates. So just speak in front of your mirror or your family members and read lot of news, read lot of articles. This will really help you. So this is all over the first day of the GTO. So the next task is actually day three of the second stage, and that is individual obstacles. Before the starting of the obstacles, our physical trainer there present just made up do all the exercises and few kilometer of 1 kilometer of running as well. So just charged it up, and I initially thought that this exhausted me, but this really helped me in the IO. In the IO, we were first demonstrated all the individual tasks by the commandos, or you can say the people there, and then we were have to perform the task. In the Vizag center, you are performing the task with one another person, and to do not interfere in between both of them. You have to pick up the other obstacle that what the other person is doing. So I did nine of them. I forgot where the one of them was, and that was double barrel jump, one of the easiest point. There was fun part as well. We have to shout "ah" in the between for obstacles. Female icons. So I shouted my mother's name. So things did well in the IO. Just make sure you do not injure yourself, that you are not able to perform your activities further on. Try to secure yourself, do your activities in the manner that the demonstrated, and do not try to break your rules. A physical activity, this is really a physically exhausting task. So if you have practiced some physical activity beforehand, if you are playing some games, we will be able to do it good. There were people who did 14 of them, there were people who did 5 of them, and it doesn't matter actually. I did 9 of them with so nothing to say about this. Just practice it with some games that you're playing on normal day, or if you're going for SLB and you are not physically very active, just try to run in 3 minutes. Actually, the IU task is for 3 minutes, so if you can run 3 minutes, you can easily complete all the tasks. Even I practice for running 3 minutes before going to the SLB for 2 3 days. That's it for the IU task. After a break of for the breakfast, the next task was a command task, and this is I think one of the most important tasks for me in the SSB. And because I'm earlier I said that the PGT of our group and NGT of our group didn't go that well, so I think GTO wanted to test us in the command task. Our command task was like 3 or 4 hours, so all the people completed in 3 or 4 hours. I must say 3 hours at least. In my commandas before commandas, I was just asked few of the questions. He asked me where are you from. Actually, all the information that he asked me was noted down beforehand when I was giving the lecturate. So so he asked me few of the things, where my father is posted, where I am doing work, something like that. Even my employer thinks. So at last, he told me that I am expecting something from you, and he pressurized a bit. And I was asked to just call a few of my subordinates, so I called 2 of them. Uh, in the command task, I must say that the command task was of average quality for me, average difficulty. I was given the command task is more like a three structure, one middle, one in the left, one in the right, and I have to complete it. So few of the things that I kept in mind is I encourage the group a lot. I encourage my subordinate a lot, and strictly restricted them to break any law. And I was instructing them for every point that I was making, for every step I was making. For example, if there is something that I had to done, for example, I have to just lay the plank and cross it. I was crossing it. I was crossing this first always, and I think one of the leadership qualities that I shown there. And then when all the subordinate cross it, I just encourage them, very good gentlemen. And then for every point, I was just instructing them, encouraging them, and that really cheered up all the subordinates as well. And I was able to complete it in 2 or 3 minutes, although he changed a few bit of things. He changed some white structures to blue, some blue structures to red, and further on. But eventually, I was able to complete in 2 or 3 minutes. I think that was the very good time for this, because he initially told me I will give you 15 minutes. So, and he also gave me a very good conclusion. That's how GTS command task went. So in command task, just have a group, good command on your subordinates, instruct them well, do not tell them do not break any rules and all those things. Encourage them. Encouragement is very good thing. It will help you to help your subordinates to perform better with much more interest. So these things went well for me, and I was able to complete in command task. I think command task was one of the most highlighted things in my GTO. So I must say that I did command task very good. So the last task for the GTO was a full group task FGT, and I must say that group was much more relaxed this time. We were not shouting that much. We were trying to hear all people ideas, and eventually we did. Even we broke one of the obstacles there. So that PGT actually we were not able to complete a fourth task in the FGT. We were only third when the GTO bashing started. So he gave us the fourth task as FGT, and we completed it good. We did good in FGT as a whole group. So that's how FGT completed. I don't think he was noting anything in the FGT, because he just kept his diary somewhere and just trying to making some fun with us, and that's it. So I think FGT was not very considered in our thing, but I must say that do your best, go with the group and just enjoy the FGT and all GTO task. GTO task is more of enjoying in a group task than actual game. It's a kind of a games rather than task, so just enjoy it as much as you can and give your best. That's it. This is all for the GTO. So in the next series of videos, I will be talking about interview experience of mine, and also I will try to make the video of how my medical procedure went. So all the best, and thank you. Hello everyone. So in this part of the video series, today I will be talking about my interviewing experience. We can say that interview is one of the most important part in the whole SLE procedure, and it happens to be that the senior most officer is generally the interviewing officer. So my interview was conducted on the second day of stage 2, that is after first day of GTO. So it was conducted around 1:30 p.m. So I was informed at 12 o'clock almost. So after the GTO, I took bath, dressed in a light green color shirt with dark gray trouser and formal black shoes. I was not wearing a tie, but some of the people were wearing a tie. So my interviewing officer was a Commodore rank, and he was also the president of the board. For the first 5 minutes of the interview, he asked me some warm-up question to make me comfortable. He asked me that where did you come from, how much time it took, how did you spend your time in the train, and also some tricky questions like what did you do for the time you reach the station and the time of reporting. So I answered them fairly good with some details like train number, station it crossed, and something like this. So after that, he told me that he will be assessing me for the next 45 minutes about my personality so that he can give the inputs to the board. So he started with the education, and for the education, he fired almost 10 questions related to my education, right from class 10th, 11th, 12th, and then graduation, co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities. What are the achievement that you achieved, and marks in the whole timeline, and all these things. So I answered them all the things. I forgot one or two points that he asked. So at the last, when I answered, I asked him to what are the points that I missed. So he reiterated the questions and I answered them. In the same, just after this, he cross-questioned few of the things like who was my favorite teacher, what was my favorite subject, and why so. So this is the education part of the interview. Further on, he asked me about my personal life, family, and also my extended family. So he first asked me about where have I lived my childhood. So I told him that my father is already in army. So I lived most of my childhood in the northwestern region of India, that is Jammu and Kashmir and Punjab. Then he asked me about qualification of my parents and also asked me about my extended family, who are the members that are still present in the extended family, and also he he asked me to take few of the names of your cousins. So I named them, and he also asked me about what are the neighbors, who are the neighbors of your family, and what are they doing. So I told them about my neighbors for both my ancestor village as well as the present address. So then again, he asked me about my relationship with my parents. So how do I interact with them? So I told them I was living in a hostel and now I'm working in Bangalore. So I generally the communication is from wireless, that is on phone, and I do visit them every Diwali or every twice in a year. So something like this. Then he asked me about what are the types of the question that you generally discuss or with your mother as well as your father. So I told them about the things that I discussed with my mother and my father, and also about my brother. He asked me about my brother what he is doing. So I told him, and also the age difference and few other things. And then he asked me about to compare myself with my brother with 3 points each. So I compared myself, told some of the pros of mine and some of the pros of him, and what are the things that I should learn from him. So these are the things that were asked my family and my personal life. Continuing on my personal life, he asked me about my friends, who are the friends in school and then college, and then what are the inspiration that you took from them, what did you learn from them, how did you help them, and few of the questions like this. So nothing much on friends actually, just few questions on prim level. That's it. So after my personal life, we came to the discussion of my professional life. Since I am already working in Bangalore, see, he asked me about my job profile. How did I get this job? What is the salary? What is the work culture? How many hours do I work? What are the responsibilities? What is my manager name? The last conflict with my manager, and hell lot of questions. For the first time in the interview, I was feeling that I am getting grilled. He was asking very tough questions as well. That you are getting already, you already have a job, very good job in the corporate. Why do you want to come to defense? So I gave my answers like my father is already in army, so I've lived with him for quite a time. I went to the MI room when I get injured. I go to the CSD when I need some cosmetics. I go to APS by army bus. So I've already surrounded my childhood with army. So I think it's time to pay back. I already achieved my adulthood. So things like this. And after convincing him that why I want to join defense, he asked me just in case. He gave me actually a hypothetical situation that just in case your defense dream do not go, what would we be doing in next 5 years? So I explained him what are the things. So he actually tried to grill me here. For example, he asked me that just in case you are currently in your company, what would you be doing in 5 years? So I told him that I may be leading a team and be a software engineer three. So what are the duties at that time? What are the responsibilities at that time of mine? And then he asked me that you are taking the example of my current job. So will you be staying in your own company? Will you be staying in this company for the next 5 years? So initially, I tried to give a very diplomatic answer that it will depend on my situation. But he told me not to be diplomatic and say the truth. So I explained him that corporate is very much filled with opportunist people, and we people are very uh, good at grabbing opportunities. So and there are new technologies that come in the market, especially in the IT sector. So just in case if new technologies come and new opportunities come, I may grab them. So he was quite impressed by these things. So this is how my professional life went. And he asked me a few of the question, but that was personal to my job profile. So I gave them answers. So I would suggest you to just research on yourself, introspect yourself, how you are doing in personal life, how you are doing in professional life. You should know actually every bit of your own life, your family members, your things related to yourself, uh, right from the meaning of your name to the age of your grandfather. These things are should you should know actually. These things make you responsible. So after my professional questions, now he started to ask me some ad hoc questions. Some of the questions that I remember, he told me to speak 3 minutes about my college, and that is Army Institute of Technology. So I told him about how did it started, what are the objectives, and things like this, and also told him about my about a senior junior relationship that is similar to the other academies in the defense forces. So something like this. So then he went on to my personal life, and he asked me about three qualities that I have, that you think I have, and three of the negative as well. So I spoke the same thing that I wrote in SD. Then he came on my parents. He again asked the same question about my parents, both mother and father, and he also cross questioned those things. uh, I can see that he was carrying four paper. One of them was my PIQ, and other three I don't remember. But he was constantly writing something about me throughout the whole interview. And also he asked me to compare myself with my brother again. Actually, he already asked me in the family section, and then again he asked me to compare myself and how do I help him. So I told him then how I help him academically and socially as well. So these are the things that I remembered was asked in the whole interview. And after that he told me that what do you have any questions in mind. So I actually prepared two of the questions, and one of the question that, so I actually asked him three questions actually. The first question that I asked him, what is the life on sea, what is the life while sailing. So he gave me a very abstract answer that life is very not that luxurious in the sea. You have to continuously have a like be on the officer watch. For example, he was giving the example of a executive officer in Navy. He told me about what are the responsibilities. Actually, he was quite responsive in the answers. He was very interested as well. So he was giving very detailed answers. He told me about the responsibilities and the duties the officers perform. Then the second question was very interesting that I asked. I asked him how is the time zone managed on the ship, since the ship is continuously sailing and traveling through the time zone. How it is being managed in the ship. So he told me. So in the first line, he told me that for every 4 hours we add 30 minutes. So I was not able to understand it. So I asked him about the details. So he explained for the next 3 or 4 minutes about how do you manage time zones, since the ship is sailing at almost 40 or 50 kilometer per hour at a highest speed. So time zone management is not that difficult from the airplanes. So after when we are going toward west, we when we are going toward west, we actually add 30 minutes after every 4 hours to manage the time zone. And when we are going towards east, we subtract for 30 minutes in every 4 hours. So if for, and he also gave me a funny example that while I was going to Qatar, that is west to India, I was working for 4.5 hours of my watch duties, and I was when I was coming back, some other officer of the watch, and he was officer of the watch for the 3 hours 30 minutes, so something like this. Then I asked him about what are the responsibilities and duties of the IT cadre that is started recently in the Navy. So he told them most of the things are outsourced, and the career prospect as currently is not that great in the IT cadre in the Navy currently. But he also assured me that in few years IT would be very much integrated in the Navy, and we will have a very good cadre as an IT as well. So these are the questions that he asked me, and we ended our interview. We shook hands. I took my papers and went back. So these are the things that how it went. You can have summed up the things like psychology, GTO, and interview, you must have seen that whatever you write on your PIQ, whatever you write in psychology, and whatever you do in the GTO ground, and whatever you say in front of the interviewing officer, if your things matches, if the things align, you will get recommended. You will surely get recommended. But if your things are conflicting, you will there is rarely chance that you will get recommended. So the things, the saying that what if you think, what you do, and what you speak, if you are it is same, you will get recommended, is actually true, and I feel the same thing. Also, motivation is a very important factor when it comes to selection in defense forces. So one thing that kept me motivating, one thing that kept me going was, will I be able to answer myself no for the whole lifetime to the question that do you have it in you? So I think this is a question actually kept me moving, and this is enough question to be asked to someone who aspired to be in defense forces. So that's how it went. So let's catch up for the conference in medical science in the next videos. Till then, bye. Thank you. Hello everyone. So my name is Ravi, and today in this video of the series, I will be talking about conference. So conference is a very simple task. In conference, you will be called one by one by your chest numbers, and your psychologist, your GTO, and your interviewing officer will discuss about your performance of the past 3 days, and we'll see if you are right fit for the forces or not. So same thing happened on my day. My chest number was 16, so 15 people had the conference before me. When my turn came, I was made to wait almost 10 minutes before I entered the hall. So I was called after 10 minutes. Those 10 minutes were very exciting and nervous as well, because I've heard many times that people who are made to wait generally get recommended. So I was happy and nervous as well at the same time. So I went in. I was asked very simple question like, "How was the stay? How can you compare your last SB with this one? What task did you did well from your last one? And rate yourself." I rated myself 7. So they asked me, where did you lose those 3 points? So I explained them about my few tasks in GTO and a few questions in the interview. So after that, they just wished me luck, good luck, and also they at last asked me, if you get recommended, what will you do? So I just told them I will buy a good pair of shoes and start running. So this is how my conference went in. After the conference, when I interacted with my batchmates, they told me that they were asked the same questions almost. So this is how conference went in. Also, a few things to keep in mind before conference. For suppose you are asked some questions in interview or mini interview before the command task, and you are not able to answer those at that time. Just remember those answers, frame your answers, and you may can answer them in the conference itself. So after the conference, the result were declared. That was very nervous for me, for other people as well. So 6 people out of 28 25 were recommended. All 6 were repeaters. So this is how my SSB went in the next video. I will be talking about my medical experience and how the medical went in. So by then, thank you. Bye. Hello everyone. So my name is Ravi, and in this video I will be talking about medicals of SSB. So medicals is quite time consuming task, and sometimes it takes more time than your own SSB. So there are 5 major departments that need to be cleared to be declared fit, and they are dental, ENT, eye department, medicine, and surgical department. So one by one, I will telling you about my experiences and what are the things that are checked or that I examined in these department. So let's begin. I also attach the links for the medical standards of Army, Navy, and Air Force in the description. So just check it out in case you have a detailed, you need some detailed information. So for the medicals, you will be told to fill 4 or 5 forms, and each form will have the option for each department. You will pasted photos, and your identification mark will be written, and those identification mark will be till with will be with you for the whole life, as it is written on the ID card of the defense forces. So for my first day, I went to the dental department, I was checked for my dental points, cavities, and other things. And I was told that most people do not get rejected in this department, and most people have the required laid down procedures. So this is how my dental department went, and it hardly took less than half an hour for the dental checkup. So I was declared fit in dental one. After that, on the same day, I was told to give my blood and urine samples that would be used in the medical medicine department. So on the first day, I gave my blood, urine, and also my chest X-ray. That is also would be used in the medicine department. So this is how the first day of my medicals went. Person who was responsible for me had taken the appointment for the ultrasound, abdominal ultrasound, and this is also to be used in medicine department. So on the second day in the morning itself, without any breakfast, I was told to report to the ultrasound, and thereafter in 1 hour or so, my ultrasound were done. The report, although got the report later, but I was declared for in the ultrasound, so nothing abnormal. So on the second day, actually, if people were having their medical conference, so I waited for them, and nothing happened on that day for me. So on the third day, we decided to go for the eye testing or ENT. So for ENT, the ENT was quite quick as well. Uh, in ENT department, there will be a person who would be holding a placard and will be revolving his fingers around your ears, and someone will someone will tell some numbers, and you have to repeat it, so just to test your listening skills. So after that, I was checked with my throat, my nose, and any other abnormalities I have in ENT. So I was declared fit as well there, and all the people who were with me were all declared fit in ENT as well. So this is how my third day went. On the fourth day, there was some kind of that the eye department has the operation theater day, so that they were busy, and medicine for the medicine as well. People doctors were not there, so I was not able to do anything on fourth day. So on fifth day, we went to the eye department, and my eye was checked, my powers were checked, my vision was checked. My vision was 6 by 12, so that is the laid down procedure actually for the Navy, 6 by 12. And also for color blindness, they will put you in a dark room for 10-20 minutes, and they will show you some colors, red, green, yellow, and they will ask you to tell the colors. So this is how the color blindness is checked. So I was declared fit in eye as well. Although for the eye, I was called again for the next day just to check my vision. Actually, in the eye, you will few drops would be given to your eye just to loosen the ciliary muscles to check the cornea. So that's why I was called next day to check the vision, and I was declared fit on the next day. So for the medicine, I went. So the next department was medicine. So in the medicine department, uh, first thing that all the reports like blood, urine, and ultrasound, they were checked. The doctor had a good eye on those results, and all. And for my case, all the results were good. There was normal. So he checked my heartbeat, my pulse rate, and those things, height, weight ratio. I was overweight by 2 kg, so he just told me to reduce the weight by 2 kg before going to the academy. So I'm doing those things. So all those things were checked, and then again heart heartbeat and all those things, complex things. I don't even know what he was checking, and he told me to just walk in a straight line with your eyes closed, with your eyes open, and few things like that. So that is how my medicine department went in. And actually, for the surgical department, that is the next department I'm talking about. The medicine department is mandatory before the surgical department. So before going to the surgery department, you have to be cleared fit, or you have to be done with your medicine department. So on that day, the day was over. So on the last next day, for the surgical department, there was. I must tell you that I'm telling you in a very simplified way, but you will need to wait a lot. You will be given the last priority in those things. You will be given the In fact, it is written in their procedure that we emergency patients, and then OPD, then officers, and something like this, and then the SLB candidates. So you will be given the last preference, and when all the patients are done, you will be checked. So this is why this procedure takes a lot of time. For the medicine, I waited for from 9 in the morning to 1:45, and then at 1:45 I was done with my medicine department. And similarly, other things like ENT, IE testing, and those things. So it is taking a lot of time. It will be real test of patients actually. So for the surgical department, I think there's a more kind of a surgical department is very famous for getting a lot of rejections. So surgical department main purpose is to check the body structure. If there is already a surgery or something like this, or some abnormality in your body structure like flat foot, knock knees, carrying angle, tennis elbow, something like this, and also your private parts would be checked. So in my surgical department, I was made to wait. After going in the cabin, I was made to wait 5 minutes in the very chilled AC. So my and I was nude. I was stripped with my clothes just for the checking. So after that 5 minutes, I was called. My flat foot was checked, my knock knees was checked, my carrying angle was checked, and then he checked my private parts by opening the skin and those parts, and then he told me to turn back, and he checked for piles. So these things went by, and the last he just asked me, "Where are you from?" and all those things that mostly all the doctors will ask you, and they will just wish you a good luck. So after that surgical department, in the same day itself, we tried to get the conference. So in conference, medical conference, there will be a set of three doctors that is appointed by the hospital itself, and they will review your result for all the five departments, and they will just mark you for the fit or unfit. And if you are unfit, you will be told about the procedure of the next. You will told about the next procedure like appeal medical board or review medical board. So those things were not applicable for me. I was declared fit for all the departments, and just they wish me luck and goodbye. So that is how actually I again I tell you that I told you in very simplified manner, but my whole things went for 8 days, and in that 8 days, 2 days were completely useless because some of the doctors were in OT or inspection kind of thing, and also the COVID had just started, so they were just taking precaution and only allowing few people. So this is how my medicals went in, and I was declared fit. So I'm just waiting for merit list and appointment letter. So that's all from my side. Thank you and all the best to everyone.